Testing. Can I get a 1 in chat? If anyone's out there in the great big ether, is my audio okay? I'll just turn off the music in the background. Let me know if the audio's okay. Just going to do a quick little test of that. And so please bear with me as I test out my audio. And we're just testing out our audio. And all right, everything seems to be in order. So let's get going. All right, everything seems to be in order. So let's get going. All right, everything seems to be... Rightio. Welcome back to the stream, everybody. Tonight is going to be a pretty short one, only because I've got a couple of things I want to do to the physical booth. But as always, welcome to Boring Dad Sleep Stories. And tonight, as usual, nothing broken here, just a record spinning its way to the end of the universe. So what we're doing is we are going to record a couple of chapters of the Hardy Boys. I think I'll leave it at that tonight, just because, like I said, I have some physical upgrades to do to the setup that I have around me here. This is a working booth. I'm currently... I've got a couple of clients for voiceover stuff. I've been working on other channels as well. One of those channels I have streamed twice in the last 24 hours, and both of those streams have been 4+ hours. So I am definitely ready to have a little bit of a sleep, a little bit of a break, but I'm also very keen to get some Hardy Boys recorded. We've got to get back on the bandwagon when it comes to Hardy Boys. So... if you are watching this live, thank you very much for coming and joining us. And when I say us, of course, I'm talking about you, me, and my two sons, our two sons, my wife and my two sons, who are currently 6 and 3 years old. This entire channel is dedicated to them. So, boys, just a little quick mention. You guys, we read, as I change over here to our action screen, we read tonight the Quidditch match, the Harry Potter's first Quidditch match chapter. So the first chapter in the book, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, about his Quidditch match. And that was pretty exciting. You guys were into it. So, rightio. And if you're watching this later on, drop us a comment anyway and say hi. If you're here right now, drop it here and say hi. And I see I've got someone in the chat from the channel I was just mentioning just before. King, g'day, mate. How's it going? Long time no talk. I'm pretty sure I posted in the Discord. I mean, I replied to you in the Discord like 10 minutes ago. Anyway, thanks for coming along, mate. And it's a very different vibe in this one. Although I can see here that I've forgotten to put my, I've forgotten to take away my little banner there. This is how organized I am. Okay, hang on a second. I've just got to get rid of that, probably. There we go. Alrighty, so I've got my Audacity up in the top left corner. I'm not dedicated to my kids more than you guys. No, I am. It's true, I am. But thanks for joining anyway, and yeah, come along for this little ride. We're going to read a couple of chapters of the Hardy Boys. It is wild stuff. You'll have to leave... Oh, you'll leave the tab open, but my friend is making me play MC with him, so... No worries at all, man. You go do your thing. I hope you're having a good time playing Minecraft, and I hope that it's survival, and I hope that he kills you repeatedly, many times over. That might sound a bit strange for everyone else, but it makes complete sense in the context of King and Mai's game. King and Mai's game? Our game together that we were playing last night. Okay, right. Let's get straight to this. We're going to open up Audacity. We're going to quickly open up our recording of the Shore Road Hardy Boys. We're going to listen to a couple of, probably not even a minute, really. I'm just going to get back into the groove by listening to what we've recorded before. We're reading the Shore Road Mystery. And if you are familiar with the Hardy Boys, you would not be surprised at seeing this cover. This is the cover of the, I think it's the original cover. I could be wrong. I'm usually wrong about that kind of thing, but this is the Shore Road Mystery cover, and it's been put up here as part of this amazing voluntary effort to get. I think there's over 75,000 texts here on the Project Gutenberg website. Not to be confused with the Project Gutenberg Australia website. Also amazing, but this one is, I believe, the American-based one. So, everything here is in the public domain. As far as I know, if it's in the public domain in America, it usually is in Australia, so we're not stressing too much about all that copyright stuff, and that's exactly why I read straight from here. Now, as you can see, the Hardy Boys are getting into a bit of a sticky wicket here, and the reason they are is because I believe they're going to uncover the thieves that have been stealing a variety of vehicles from just outside of Bayport along the Shore Road, the road that leads from Bayport, the city in which the thriving metropolis, young metropolis that the Hardy Boys live in. And I believe the chapter we got up to last time, I think, is Gus Montrose. Now, I will just double check that. I'm going to go down to the end of the chapter here. What's going to happen is we're going to listen to a couple of these. Could you please let me know how this sounds if you're in the chat? If it is not looking like, if it's not sounding, at the same level as my voice, that's something we want to listen to. If it's too low, basically, but especially if it's too high as well. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll have a little listen. Let me know if it's too loud or too quiet in relation to my voice. A little bit quieter than my voice is fine. I just don't want to blast you guys every time I play it, that's all. Okay, so I'll probably have a little listen along as well. Okay, here we go. We're just going to get back into the groove and listen to the last part of the last chapter we read, where they exposed the hiding place of some traveling tramps, and they've found Gus Montrose, who has, we think, framed Jack Dodd and his father for stealing cars. We think. Let's find out. So it seems that you guys cannot hear that at all. That is good information to have. Okay, so we'll go down here to the, let me just have a little fiddle around here. Desktop audio application, cityscape loop. Oh my goodness me. I do love it when nothing works. No, that's okay. We can get this figured out quite quickly. I think we're going to be okay. So I'm just going to leave that playing for a little while and then see what happens. I'm just going to try and find out how to turn that back on. Exclaimed Jack Dodd. Astonished at seeing them. Let's do that again. He wheeled about and sprang into the bushes. They could hear him plunging through the undergrowth as he disappeared. Although they had only a momentary glance, the boys readily identified him as the man the tramps had mentioned. Disreputably clad, he was a thin man with a cruel mouth and a hooked nose. "Gus Montrose!" exclaimed Jack Dodd. Alrighty, so that's exactly where we left the Hardy Boys. I'm going to have a quick little drink here, and we're going to tackle... Oh, I believe that's one of the first words too. I love it when that happens. We're going to tackle Chapter 8, The Missing Truck. Okay, so we've got the boys, and they're going to be in pursuit of Gus Montrose. Let's go. exclaimed Jack Dodd. Chapter 8. The Missing Truck. "Let's tackle that fellow," exclaimed Frank Hardy. "We can ask him about your fishing rod, Jack." Frank scrambled into the bushes where Gus Montrose had disappeared, and in a moment his companions were hurrying after him. But although Frank had lost little time in making up his mind to question the former hired man... Whoopsie-doopsie. Alrighty, we're just getting into a bit of a flow state, as the kids say with this. Let's go. Moment, his companions were hurrying after him. But although Frank had lost little time making up his mind to question the former hired man, Montrose had been too quick for him. The fellow was nowhere to be seen. "Shall I call to him?" asked Jod. Jod? The fellow was nowhere to be seen. "Shall I call to him?" asked Jack Dodd. "You can if you want to," answered Frank. "I doubt if he'll answer." "Might scare him into running faster," suggested Joe. "I reckon he's running about as fast as he can now." "Oh, that's not him, that's Frank." "Into running faster," suggested Joe. "I reckon he's running about as fast as he can now." Gus Montrose," yelled Jack. "Come back here. We want to talk to you." All listened, but no reply came to this call. "Silence fills the air profound," came soberly from Joe. "So much noise it would make a tomb..." Oh, sorry, what kind of phrasing is that from Joe? That's amazing. Good on you, Joe. Soberly from Joe. "So much noise it would wake a tombstone," added Chet. Again, Jack called, and with no better results. Yet... Sorry, I'm still reeling. Joe's never said anything like that before. "Let's all yell together," suggested Joe. This was done, but no answer came back. Has Joe ever said anything like that before? I mean, it's kind of pithy and ironic, which is very Joe. He pulls it off a bit better than Frank, I think. This was done, but no answer came back. "Sorry, but I've got a date elsewhere," mimicked Joe. "Be back next month at 3 o'clock. "That fellow is no good, and I know it," murmured Frank. "An honest man would come back and face us." "Listen!" cried Jack, putting up his hand. All listened with strained ears. "Don't hear a thing?" began Chet. "I hear it," interrupted Frank. And Chet, "I hear it," interrupted Frank. A snapping and crackling sound among the bushes ahead lured the boys on, and they went plunging through the woods. They failed to catch sight of the quarry, however. Evidently, Montrose was well acquainted with this part of the country, for after a while, the sounds of his retreat died away. Frank, who was in the lead, came to a stop, realizing that further pursuit was useless. In a few minutes, the others came up, panting. "Oh, did he get away?" asked Joe. Frank nodded. "He was too quick for us. When he knew we were after him, he didn't lose any time." "Oh, I wish we had been able to talk to the rascal," said Jack Dodd. "I would have had a few things to tell him." "Probably we wouldn't have got much satisfaction out of him anyway," Frank remarked. "Still, you could have asked him what he knew about that fishing rod." It's something to know that he's still hanging around this part of the country," pointed out Chet. "He has evidently been lying low since he left your farm." "Yeah, he's up to some mischief, I'm sure." "Mischief?" "Been lying low since he left your farm." He's up to some mischief, I'm sure of that." "Probably built himself a shack somewhere in the woods." So breathy. "He's up to some mischief, I'm sure of that." "Probably built himself a shack somewhere in the woods," suggested Joe. "Well, we may run across him some other time. It's getting late, and I think we'd better be starting home," said Frank. Chet and Joe agreed that it was about time, And as there seemed little to be gained by continuing the search for Gus Montrose or for any evidence of the stolen cars, the boys retraced their steps back through the woods until they reached the shore road. Their motorcycles had been parked in the shelter of the trees. "About time for my supper too," said Jack Dodd. "If you're out this way again, look me up and we'll make another search through the woods." All right, before I do anything else, I'm just going to do a little quick flippity-dippet here. Live audiobook creation. If you're out this way... What? Oh. Okay, I'm changing the wrong thing. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. Okay. All right. I think I'm ready to get back into it now. So, here we go. "Time for my supper too," said Jack Dodd. "Time for my supper too," said Jack Dodd. "Time for my supper too," said Jack Dodd. "If you're out this way again, look me up and we'll make another search through the woods." His friends promised to do this, and, bidding Jack goodbye, they mounted their motorcycles and were soon roaring off in the direction of Bayport. They had spent more time in the wood than they had been aware of, and were anxious to get back to the city without being too late for the evening meal. Mrs. Hardy seldom scolded, but the boys had vivid recollections of Aunt Gertrude's acid remarks on similar occasions. They emerged on an open stretch of road where a sand embankment sloped steeply down to Barmet Bay. The beach lay beneath them at the foot of the sheer declivity, and the waters of the bay sparkled in the rays of the late afternoon sun. A movement on the beach caught Frank's eye, and he... What the heck is that? Sorry, guys, let me try that sentence. Of the late afternoon sun. A movement on the beach caught Frank's eye, and he brought his motorcycle to a sudden stop. "What's the matter?" asked Joe, swerving wildly to avoid piling headlong into Frank's machine. "Run out of gas?" inquired Chet, putting on the brakes. But Frank had dismounted and was walking over to the side of the road, out onto the top of the embankment. "There's somebody down on the beach." "Oh, what of it? Somebody swimming or fishing? Do you mean to say you stopped just because of that?" But Frank was gazing down the steep, sandy slope. "There's something queer about this," he said, slowly. "There are two men down there, lying on the sand." Joe and Chet, immediately interested, came running over. The three boys looked down at the two figures on the beach far below. "They're not asleep," said Joe. "One of them seems to be rolling around." "They're tied," shouted Frank. Oh, wait. Shouted. Let's shout. Don't worry, I'm not going to shout. "Rolling around." "They're tied," shouted Frank. "Look, you can see the ropes. I was wondering what was so queer about them. Those men. I was wondering what was so queer about them. Those men are tied hand and foot." Joe was examining the embankment at their feet. "Why, they've been rolled down the side," he exclaimed. "Look where the sand has been disturbed." True enough, sand and gravel at the top of the slope showed a distinct depression, and all the way down the embankment, this depression continued as though a heavy object had slid to the bottom. From the beach below came a faint shout. "Help! Help!" The men on the shore had seen them. "We'd better go down," said Frank. "I wonder if there isn't a path of some kind around here." "Let's slide," Chet suggested. We're liable to break our necks tobogganing down this slope." "No, there should be a path." Frank ran along the top of the embankment toward a clump of trees a few yards away, where the slope was not so steep, and there he found a footpath that led a winding course down the side of the hill toward the beach. It wound about across the face of the slope and covered twice the distance they would have had to go if they had course down the side of the hill toward the beach. Oh gosh. Here we go, let's try again. Side of the hill toward the beach. It wound about across the face of the slope and covered twice the distance they would go. Oh my gosh. Course down the side of the hill toward the beach. It wound about across the face of the slope and covered twice the distance they would have had to go if they had adopted Chet's suggestion, though it was a great deal surer. They emerged on the open shore eventually and saw the two bound figures lying on the beach not 50 yards off. In a short time, the boys were bending over the prostrate victims. The men, who were clad in overalls, were both bound hand and foot with heavy rope, at which the lads slashed vigorously with their pocket knives. The strands fell apart, and the two men were able to sit up, rubbing their limbs, which had been chafed by the ropes in their efforts to free themselves. "Oh, I thought we'd be here all night," declared one of the men, a plump, grimy young fellow about 20 years of age. "Oh, mighty lucky thing for us that you saw us," said the other, who was older in appearance. "We shouted and shouted. At least a dozen cars must have passed along the road, and no one saw us." They got to their feet. "What happened?" asked Frank. "How on earth do you come to be down here, tied up like this?" "Hold up," said the older man briefly. He looked up toward the road, an anxious expression on his face. "I don't suppose you met a truck along the road anywhere?" The boys shook their heads. "It's gone, then," said the younger man, with a gesture of resignation. $6,000 worth of goods. "We'll have to get back to town and report this." "We can take you back," said Frank quickly. "We have motorcycles up on the road." "Fine. Let's hurry." The two men started back toward the path at a rapid gait, and the three boys hurried along. As they ascended the slope, the plump young chap explained what had happened. Pardon me. A rapid quick drink. Aquavita. At a rapid gait, and the three boys hurried along. There we go. And the three boys hurried along. As they ascended the slope, the plump young chap explained what had happened. "We're truck drivers for the Eastern Importing Company, and we were bringing a load of silk into Bayport," he said. "Right at the top of the embankment, we were held up by those two men." "How long ago?" asked Joe. Joe asked. "At the embankment, we were held up by those two men." "How long ago?" Joe asked. "Oh, a little over an hour ago. They stepped out of the bushes, each man masked and carrying a revolver. Bill was at the wheel, and I was on the seat beside him. They made him stop the truck, and then they made us get down into the road. When we did that, one of the hold-up men covered us with his revolver while the other tied us up. Oh, he made a good job of it, too. I'll tell the world. We couldn't move hand or foot." "How did they get you down onto the beach?" "They rolled us down the embankment. Don't we look it?" The clothes of both the men had been badly tattered and torn, while their arms and faces also gave evidence of the bruises and lacerations they had suffered in their descent. "I thought we'd roll clean into the bay," said the other man. "If we had, it would have been all up with us. We'd have been drowned without a chance to save ourselves," his companion agreed. "As it was, we came pretty close to the water's edge, banged and battered from that toboggan slide, and then we just had to lie there until somebody came along and set us free. At first we thought someone would surely see us from the road, but as car after car went by, we began to lose hope. I was afraid it would get dark, and then no one would be able to see us. Even if they did chance to look down this way, it wouldn't have been very pleasant, staying out on that beach all night. Did you see where the truck went to? Asked Frank. The men shook their head. The hold-up men drove away in it, that's all we know, said one. It took us a few minutes to recover our senses after the slide down the embankment, and by that time the truck was gone. Whether it went on toward Bayport or turned around, we can't tell, added the other. It certainly didn't pass in the other direction, said Chet. But Frank was dubious. Certainly didn't pass in the other direction, said. Oh, it certainly didn't. It needs to be a bit cheeker. Turned around, we can't tell, added the other. Oh, it certainly didn't pass in the other direction, said Chet. But Frank was dubious. We were down in the woods quite a while, remember? He pointed out. It might have gone by during that time. They regained the road. Perhaps we can find the marks of the tires, suggested Joe. Assisted by the two men, the lads searched about in the dust of the roadway. But so many cars had passed in the intervening time that all trace of the truck had been obliterated. No use searching now, said the driver. Oh, wait, no. Who was driving? The young guy or the old guy? Let me just double check again here. Here we go. La 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 la. The truck driver is the plump young Jack. Okay, so the older guy was driving. Okay, cool. Truck had been obliterated. No use searching now. Oh, wait, no, that's the young guy. Sorry. Been obliterated. No use searching now, said the driver. If you lads will get us into Bayport, we'll report the case to the police. They abandoned the quest, and in a short time the party had arrived in the city. What? Oh, I see. Right. Weird sentence. They abandoned the quest, and in a short time the party had arrived in the city, Frank and Joe taking the two men as passengers on their motorcycles. At the police station, the hold-up was duly reported, and immediately word was flashed to the police in other cities and to officers out in the country. But to no avail. By 9 o'clock that night, there had been no report on the missing truck. It had not passed through any of the 3 cities at the other end of the shore road, and Bayport police were positive it had never entered the city. The truck, with its $6,000 cargo, had utterly disappeared. Chapter 10. Following Clues. This new sensation soon had Bayport by the ears. Although the owners of private cars had been content to leave the matter of their stolen property in the hands of the police, the Eastern Importing Company went a step farther. They not only demanded the fullest official investigation, but they retained Fenton Hardy to take up the case as well. They were by no means resigned to losing a valuable load of silk without a struggle. In his study next day, Mr. Hardy called in his sons and told them the importing company had asked him to do what he could toward recovering the Apologies. And told them the importing company had asked him to do what he could toward recovering the stolen goods. Aside from my fee, he said, they are offering a reward of $500 if the silk is returned to them. What I want to ask you is this. Do you think there is any chance that the truck driver and his assistant may have been lying? The boys scouted this theory. I don't think so, Dad, returned Frank. They told a perfectly straight story. As a matter of fact, they were so anxious to get to Bayport and report the robbery that it was some time before we could get them to tell us what had actually happened. And they could never have tied themselves up as thoroughly as they were tied, Joe declared. Men... They were... That's a terrible sentence. Let's try that again. Get them to tell us what had actually happened. And they could never have tied themselves up as thoroughly as they were tied, Joe declared. Men have been known to rob their employers before this, said Mr. Hardy. We can't afford to overlook any possibilities. Frank, just so sassy. I think you can afford to overlook that one, sir. These men were honest. I'm sure of that. Well, Frank, I will trust your judgment. I've investigated the records of the two men, and they have never had anything against them, so I suppose it was an honest-to-goodness hold-up. It was... Oh, wait, this is Joe. So I suppose it was an honest-to-goodness hold-up. It was real enough. We could see the marks in the embankment where they had been rolled down from the road, put in Joe. I'm sorry they couldn't give a better description of the hold-up men. All they could say was that they were both of medium height and that they wore masks. It isn't very much to go on. However, I may be able to get a line on the case when they try to get rid of the silk. The stuff is bound to turn up sooner or later, and I may be able to trace it back to the thieves. However, although Fenton Hardy devoted the next 2 days to the case, he made little progress towards locating either the missing truck or its car. What the heck is that sentence? Okay, let's try that again. The missing truck. May be able to trace it back to the thieves. However, although Fenton Hardy devoted the next 2 days to the case, he made little progress towards locating either the missing truck or its cargo. As in the case of the other stolen cars, the truck seemed, past tense, buddy, locating either the missing truck or its cargo. As in the case of the other stolen cars, the truck seemed to have vanished into thin air. And although its description was broadcast all through the state, and police officials and garage mechanics were asked to be on the lookout for it, the mystery remained unsolved. One evening toward the latter part of the week, the Hardy boys mounted their motorcycles and rode down High Street in the direction of the Shore Road. This was in accordance with the plan made earlier in the day. Read the words. This was in accordance with a plan made earlier in the day. It stands to reason that if any of the cars ever got out into the state, at least one of them, oh my gosh, with a plan made earlier in the day. It stands to reason that if any of the cars ever got out into the state, at least 1 or 2 of them would be found, said Frank. I have a mighty strong hunch that the whole mystery begins and ends right along that road.
Perhaps those tramps we saw in the woods might have something to do with it.
They may have had something to do with the hold-up, although...
Tramps we saw in the woods might have something to do with it.
They may have had something to do with the hold-up, although it's not very probable. They looked as if they'd been sitting around that fire for quite a while, and it was a good distance from the place where the truck was robbed. However, it won't hurt us to do a little sentry duty, and keep an eye on the Shore Road. We may have our trouble for nothing, but you never know what will turn up. And keep an eye on the Shore Road. We may have our trouble for nothing, but you never know what will turn up. The lads drove out the road to a point midway. But you never know what will turn up. The lads drove out the road to a point midway between the scene of the truck holdup and the Dodd farm. Oh my gosh, this desk keeps on clicking. The lads drove out the road to a point midway between the scene of the truck holdup and the Dodd farm. It was growing dark by the time they drew their motorcycles beneath the shelter of some trees. We might as well wait right here, said Frank, making himself comfortable on the grass. If we see anything suspicious, we can follow it up. In the heavy shade, the boys could not be seen from the road, and they talked in whispers. They had no clear idea of what they expected to find, but they were convinced that the shore road hid the mystery of the stolen automobiles, and their experience in previous cases had taught them that patience was often rewarded. A few cars passed by, some bound toward Bayport, others in the opposite direction. But they were obviously pleasure cars, and there was nothing about them to arouse suspicion. Once in a while, through the trees on the top of the bluff, good opportunity to have a little water break. Hello in the chat. If anyone's here, we're just reading the Hardy Boys, and I'm glad you've joined us. Thanks so much. Us, me, myself, and I. Right, I might go back a tiny bit. But they were obviously pleasure cars. Toward Bayport, others in the opposite direction. But they were obviously pleasure cars, and there was nothing about them to arouse suspicion. Once in a while, through the trees on top of the bluff, the boys could see the twinkling lights of a boat out on Barmett Bay. In the summer night, the silence was only broken by the trilling of frogs in the ditches along the road. Presently, they heard voices. There was no one approaching along the highway, but as the voices grew louder, they appeared to come from a field beyond the fence. At that moment, the moon appeared from behind a cloud, and in its ghostly light, the Hardy Boys distinguished two figures moving toward them in the meadow. Silently, the lads crouched. The lads crouched in the shadow of the trees, watching. Let's not do bad Irish. Silently, the lads crouched in the shadow of the trees, watching. "This is a good night for it," growled one of the men. "It's a good night if we don't get caught." Joe's hand tightened around. "It's a good night if we don't get caught." Joe's hand tightened about Frank's arm. "What are you worrying about? We won't get caught." Throat gurgle. "It's a good night if we don't get caught." Joe's hand tightened around. Oh my gosh, read the words. "It's a good night if we don't get caught." Joe's hand tightened about Frank's arm. "What are you worrying about? We won't get caught. It isn't the first time we've got away with it." Yeah, I know, but somehow. "It isn't the first time we've got away with it." Yes, I know, but somehow I'm nervous tonight. I'm afraid we'll land up in the police court some of these fine days. Oh my gosh. "It isn't the first time we've got away with it." Yes, I know, but somehow I'm nervous tonight. I'm afraid we'll land up in the police court some of these days. Oh my gosh. Sorry guys. Okay, just take a breather. When this happens, it's like a broken record, and I'll end up just reading the same line over and over again. And we obviously don't want that. So what we'll do is we'll just have a little breather, and I'll say hi. If there's anyone in chat, feel free to say hi. Oh, hello. Hang on a second. I know that username in the chat. Hello, Boltzmann Constant. Did not realize you knew about this channel. There you go. Welcome to this channel. I didn't get to see you earlier in the day, but I guess you were probably asleep like a normal person. You're on European time, aren't you? So welcome to the chat. And you're joining Little King. I think Little King has got it on in the background while he's playing some Minecraft or something like that. And there is a third person. No idea who you are, but welcome. You're welcome to say hello. Welcome to my channel. Reading audiobooks for my children. And Boltzmann Constant, otherwise known as Sefik. Sefik, what are you saying? When will you read Butler's Erewhon? I don't actually know what that is. I will take a small break from this because I've reached a bit of a mental block with it. Butler's Erewhon. A utopian novel by English writer Samuel Butler, first published in 1872, set in a fictional country discovered and explored. Oh! Have we talked about this before? I'm not sure we have. It's a satire on Victorian... Actually, I have heard of this. The discovery of Erewhon based on Butler's own experiences in New Zealand. As a young man, he had worked there as a sheep farmer. I'm pretty sure we've talked about this. If not, then I've talked to someone else about this. One of the first to explore ideas of artificial intelligence as influenced by Darwin's recently published On the Origin of Species in 1859. In Erewhon, can we say Erewhon or Erewhon? Erewhon. Erewhon? Illness is crime, and crime is illness. As a result, their citizens are imprisoned for offenses like physical ailments, misfortune, or ugliness, while those who commit conventional crimes like fraud or theft are seen more sympathetically as exhibiting symptoms of moral afflictions. And prescribed sessions with a straightener, essentially a psychologist for treatment. The lack of compassion for physical sickness is reflected in the role of physicians in Erewhonian society, which is described as something more akin to that of a judge or law enforcement officer than that of a doctor. So it's like pre-1984, 1984. I like that. I like the sound of that. Okay, that's going on the list. It sounds really good. Can I just see, I'm just going to see here. I'll just open up Project Gutenberg. How are you, Sefik? Good to see you, bro. You'll notice that I'm a little bit more chill on this channel than I am in the other one. Right. Erewhon, or Over the Range by Samuel Butler. Whoa, it looks big. I'll just do a word count checker here. Oh yeah, don't forget to like the stream, guys, if you're in there, but you don't have to. Just hanging out. That's nice to have people here. It keeps me going. 87,000 words. Okay, so that's probably not about right. That's probably about 83,000 words. There is a bit of stuff at the end of every Project Gutenberg page that usually gets counted in that word count thing that I do with the extension that I use. Okay. Erewhon, Over the Range. Cool. Chapter 1, Wastelands. I like the sound of that. What a good name for a channel. I think we're going to read it. I don't think I'm going to read it tonight, but I'm going to read it. We're going to get back to, I'm actually going to, okay, I've bookmarked it. Thanks, Sefik. Yeah, no, it can go on the list. It is on a long list, but it will go on a list. So, look, chuck this on in the background if you're feeling comfortable with it. It's a very, there's not much shopping and changing around when I'm doing these ones, usually, but we're just trying to get a good 2 or 3 chapters read of this book tonight, and then we'll see how we go. I've got a couple of upgrades to the booth that need to happen. So, anyway, let's move on. Yeah, got any questions or things to say about the Hardy Boys, please let me know. Okay. And like I said, it's good to have you here. All right. Where did I get up to? What are you worrying about? We won't get caught. It isn't the first time we've got away with it. It isn't the first time we've got away with it. But it isn't the first time we've got away with it.
Oh, yes, I know, but somehow I'm nervous tonight. I'm afraid we'll land up in the police court some of these fine days.
If you're scared, go on home. I'll go on alone, said the first man, scornfully.
I'm not scared. Who says I'm scared?
Well, if you're not scared, shut up. I know we're breaking the law, but we'd never been caught yet. The men scrambled over the fence. The boys saw that the first fellow was carrying 2 long poles, and that the other carried a bag over his shoulder. Have you got all the stuff? Yes. We'd better not walk along the road. Somebody's liable to spot us. Keep to the shadow, and then we'll cut down into the woods. The men hastily crossed the road in the moonlight. They were only a few yards away from the boys, but fortunately did not see them. In the dim light, the watchers could not distinguish the features of the pair.
There's a path here somewhere, isn't there?
Asked one. Don't you remember it? If it hadn't been for that path the other night, we'd have been nabbed.
Oh, that's right. You know this country pretty well.
I should. I've lived around here long enough. About 50 yards away, the men turned down toward the woods and vanished in the darkness of the trees. Their voices receded. Frank and Joe scrambled to their feet. "Come on," said Frank in excitement. "We'll follow them."
Do you think they're the thieves?
Oh, God. Frank in excitement. "We'll follow them."
Do you think they're the thieves?
I'm sure of it. They're up to some kind of monkey business anyway. We'll find out where they're going. In the soft grass, the boys made not a sound as they sped along in the shade of the trees toward the path the two men had taken. They found it without difficulty, a fairly well-defined trail that was quite visible in the moonlight. The lads plunged into the depths of the woods, and there the moonlight did not penetrate. They had to feel their way forward, moving slowly in order to keep their progress silent. After a while, they could hear the voices of the two men, again, not far ahead. "Go easy," one was saying. "You never know who's likely to be prowling around here these nights."
Too many police have been nosing around these parts to suit me.
"We've got to take those chances." The two boys emerged into a clearing on the slope just in time to see the two men disappearing into the heavy wood on the opposite side. The clearing lay wide and deserted in the bright moonlight. "Oh, they're up to some mischief," said Frank. "We'll have to be careful they don't see us."
I wonder what those long poles are for.
"They're not fishing poles. Too short and straight for that."
Well, we'll soon find out. I think we're on the trail of something big.
"I'm sure of it." The boys sped across the clearing and went on down the trail through the dark wood beyond. They were drawing closer to a brook now, and they could plainly hear the lapping of the water against the rocks in the distance. In this vicinity, there were several brooks flowing down into Barmet Bay. Frank suddenly came to a stop. "Look," he said. The boys peered through the gloom. Beyond the branches of the trees, they saw a glimmer of light. It disappeared, then shone again, steadily. That's the end of the chapter. And I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling good about the process so far. So that's chapter 9. Did I say chapter 9? Now, see, I have this issue sometimes where I'm not very good with, I'm not great. Did I just read all that in one go? Wow, I'm getting flow tonight. That's great. I really should take advantage of this. Is this chapter? The lads drove out the road to a point midway between the scene of the truck holdup and the Dodd farm. It was growing dark by the time they drew their motorcycles beneath the shelter of some trees. "We might as well wait right here," said Frank, making himself comfortable on the grass. "If we see anything suspicious, we can follow it up." In the heavy shade, the boys could not be seen from the road, and they talked in whispers. They had no clear idea of what they expected to find, but they were convinced that the shore road hid the mystery of the stolen automobiles. It's pretty good. It's okay. Might have something to do with it. They may have had something to do with the whole... Yeah, I don't think Frank's voice is the best tonight, but that's okay. One evening toward the latter part of the week, the Hardy boys... However, to turn up sooner or later, and I may be able to trace it back to the thieves. However, although Fenton Hardy devoted the next 2 days to the silk, the stuff is... I can get rid of that for a start. Do a punch copy. We're going to apply a punch paste here. Here we go. Just chuck that little bad boy in there. I'm sorry they couldn't give a better description of the hold-up, man. Well, Frank, I will trust your judgment. I did say chapter 9, didn't I? Let's see. Chapter 10. No, it's not chapter 10. I'm pretty sure it's chapter 9. Following clues? Chapter 10. Following clues. Oh dear. I've done this multiple times, and with Hardy Boys books as well. I don't know what it is. Okay, what we're going to do here is a bit of a hack. So we're going to add a new stereo track in Audacity. And we're going to quickly chop this bit out. So we're going to go Shift X. I've got a little hotkey here for that bad boy. I'm going to take it out there. And all I do is I'm going to record on a new track, and it's going to record over where, it's going to play that one through, and then I'll just record where there's a gap just here, and then we'll see how we go. So it's chapter 9, following clues. Let's be real. Here we go. With its $6,000 cargo, had utterly disappeared. Chapter 9. Following clues. This new Okay, easy done. And now all I do is I'm just going to trim that down to where I need it. I'm going to chop that off exactly where I need it. Get rid of what was before it. Chop off the trim. All right, here. Gets dragged up here. And we now should hear flawlessly. Not flawlessly because it's me, but give it a crack. Chapter 9. With its $6,000 cargo, had utterly disappeared. Chapter 9. Following clues. This new sensation soon had Bayport. Okay, right. As the kids would say 100 years ago, maybe, bingo, bango, bongo. All right, okay. I don't think... Has anyone ever said bingo, bango, bongo, apart from, I don't know where I got that from. It was called Meet the Fockers. Have you ever seen the movie Meet the Fockers? There's an older gentleman in there that says bingo, bango, bongo, and I think it's just stuck with me. I think it's one of the most ludicrous and joyous things that you can say. Bingo, bango, bongo. Okay, moving on. So we've actually read that entire chapter. They've seen two men sneaking through the woods. They followed them in the middle of the night, and then peering through the gloom in an area that there's a lot of kind of brooks that lead down into Barmet Bay. They're looking at some light, a glimmer of light. It disappeared, then shone again steadily. Okay, I think I've got another chapter in me here. Okay, let's do it. Shone again, steadily. Chapter 10. The Great Discovery. I'll bet that's not a good start, is it? Let's try again. The Great Discovery. I'll bet that light's a signal light, whispered Joe Hardy to his brother. The boys watched the yellow gleam among the trees. Then, slowly, the light began to move. It swung to and fro as though it was being carried by someone. Sorry. The light began to move. It swung to and fro as though it was being carried by someone, and finally vanished. Frank led the way down the path. In a few minutes, they heard a snapping of twigs that indicated that the two men were not far ahead. The path dipped sharply down a rocky slope sparsely covered with underbrush. Then, the brook came into view. They could see the pair clearly now. One of the men was carrying a lantern. The other bore the long poles and the bag. Drawn up on the side of the brook, below the rocks and just above its mouth, the boys distinguished a small boat. They crouched in the shelter of the bushes and watched as the man who carried the lantern put the light down and strode over to a clump of trees from which he presently emerged, carrying a pair of oars. He dumped them into the boat with a clatter, which aroused the wrath of his companion. "What do you think you're doing?" he demanded fiercely. Want to rouse up everybody from here to Bayport?
Oh, I forgot,
the other answered, apologetically. Well, don't forget again.
there's nobody around anyway.
Don't be too sure. He fitted the oars into the rowlocks quietly, and the pair pushed the boat out into the brook.
What shall we do? Whispered Joe. Tackle them?
Wait a minute. Hardly were the words out of Frank's mouth before he heard a rustling in the bushes almost immediately behind him. He looked around, startled, and saw a shadowy figure flit among the bushes. Then another, and another. He was so astonished that he almost cried out, Where were these? Well, sorry, I'm having like a hyperventilation there. Sorry. Time for a drink. This is good. This is good Hardy Boys action. It doesn't get much better than this. Such intrigue, such mystery. And another. He was so astonished that he almost cried out. Where had these newcomers appeared from? Who were they? The Hardy Boys pressed close to the ground as the three figures passed so close by them that they could almost have reached out and touched them. Not a word was said. The three men made their way silently past, in the direction of the brook. All right, said one of the men at the boat. I guess we can start out now. At that instant, the three... Oh, wait, hang on. Passed, in the direction of... Different guy. All right, said one of the men at the boat. I guess we can start out now. At that instant, the three newcomers sprang out from the depth of the brush. There was a wild yell from the man bent over the boat. Come on, boys, shouted one of the attackers. We got him! Trembling with excitement, the Hardy Boys looked on. They saw the three men close in. One of the fellows at the boat made a dash for liberty, but he was tripped up and flung heavily into the brook. The other fought back, but he was quickly overpowered. The struggle was sharp, but brief. And in a few minutes, the two men were prisoners and were taken out into the moonlight. You came once too often, Jed, said one of their captors. We've been watching for you. You ain't got anything on us, said Jed. Oh, yes, we have. Caught you red-handed. Any of your pals around? Just the two of us. Boat, lantern, and everything, eh? You were too sharp for us most of the time, Jed, but we were bound to catch you sooner or later. Greatly puzzled by this dialogue, wondering who the newcomers were, and wondering why Jed and his companions had thus been captured, the Hardy Boys rose slightly from their hiding place to get a better view of proceedings. Okay. Geez, things are heating up in here. This is crazy. I mean, physically in the reading booth at the moment they are, but... Okay. There's three of them. This guy's kind of husky. I was trying to make him come out like a bit like Bane, but it didn't work anyway. Hiding place to get a better view of proceedings. A better view of proceedings. A hiding place to get a better view of proceedings. Just then, they heard a heavy footstep in the bushes immediately behind them. They dropped again to the earth. But it was too late. They had been seen. Who's there? Growled a husky voice. And someone came plunging in through the bushes toward them. Frank got to his feet and scrambled wildly for safety. Joe did likewise. The man behind them gave a loud shout. Here's some more of them, he called. Joe tripped over a root and went sprawling. In the darkness, it was almost impossible to see a clear way to safety. Frank paused to help his brother to his feet, and their pursuer was upon them. He seized Frank by the coat collar. One of the other men came crashing through the underbrush. I've caught him, announced the captor. One of the other men came crashing through the underbrush. I've caught him, announced their captor. Two more. The newcomer emerged from a thicket and pounced on Joe. Good work. Wait, what? Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. Thicket and pounced on Joe. Good work, he said exultantly.
And pounced on Joe.
Ah, good work, he said exultantly. The Hardy Boys were hauled roughly out of the bushes and down into the moonlight, where the two captives were being held.
Caught 'em, hiding right in the bushes, said the man who had discovered them, tightening his grip on Frank's collar.
Boys, eh? Said the leader, coming forward and peering closely at them.
Discovered them, tightening his grip on Frank's collar.
Boys, eh? Said the leader.
On Frank's collar.
Boys, eh? Said the leader, coming forward and peering closely at them. Since when have you had boys helping you, Jed? The prisoner called Jed looked at the Hardy Boys suspiciously.
I never saw 'em in my life before, he growled.
What are they doing here, then?
How should I know? Asked Jed. I tell you, I don't know anything about them.
Why were you hiding in those bushes? Demanded the leader of Frank.
We were watching those two men, Frank returned promptly, indicating Jed and his companion.
Watching them? Helping them, you mean?
We don't know yet what they were up to. We were watching the shore road for automobile thieves, and we saw those men going down into the woods, so we followed them.
The boys were still completely mystified. Just what errand had brought Jed and the other man to this lonely place at that hour of night, and just who were their captors, remained a puzzle to them.
Wait. I've read that completely wrong.
Down into the woods, so we followed them. The boys were still completely mystified. Just what errand had brought Jed and the other man to this lonely place at that hour of night, and just who were their captors remained a puzzle to them.
You didn't come here to spear fish?
What kind of
a... remained a puzzle to them.
You didn't come here to spear fish?
Spearfish? Exclaimed Frank.
Don't be so innocent. You know Jed and this fellow were coming down to spearfish by nightlight, and it's against the law. The whole situation was now clear. Frank and Joe felt supremely foolish. Instead of trailing two automobile thieves, they had merely been following two farmers of the neighborhood who had been engaged in the lawless activity of spealing.
Oh my gosh.
And it's against the law. The whole situation was now clear. Frank and Joe felt supremely foolish. Instead of trailing two automobile thieves, they had merely been following two farmers of the neighborhood who had been engaged in the lawless activity of spearing fish by night. This explained the mysterious conversation and their allusions to fearing.
The lawless activity of spearing fish by night.
This explained the mysterious conversation and their allusions to fear and capture. The other men were nothing more or less than game wardens.
We didn't know, said Frank. We thought perhaps they were the auto thieves.
The game wardens began to laugh.
Oh, you were on the wrong track that time, son, said one. I guess they're all right, then. Let them go.
The man who had stumbled on them in the bush released Frank reluctantly.
They gave me a start, he said. Hiding there so quiet, I was sure they were with this other pair.
Never saw either one.
Oh, wait. I was sure they were with this other pair.
Never saw either one of them before.
I was sure they were with this other pair.
Never saw either one of them before, repeated Jed.
Well...
Either one of them before, repeated Jed. Well, if you stand up for them, I guess they're telling the truth. You boys beat it out of here and don't go interfering with our work again. You might have scared those two... Oh, wait.
Either one of them before, repeated.
Never.
Sure they were with
Never saw either one of them before, repeated Jed. Oh no, he'd never.
Sure they were with this other pair. Never saw either one of them before, repeated Jed. Well, if you stand up for them, I guess they're telling the truth. You boys beat it out of here. No, what's that? Swallow. We don't need to be swallowing spit.
Guess they're telling the truth.
Sorry. You boys beat it out of here, and don't go interfering with our work again. You might have scared these two away if they'd caught sight of you. I wish we had seen them.
Scared these two away if they'd caught sight of you.
I wish we had seen them, said Jed. We wouldn't be in this mess now. Oh, you'd have been caught sooner or later. You've been spearing fish in the brooks and ponds around here for the past 3 weeks, and you know it. You'll stand a fine in police court tomorrow. The Hardy boys did not wait to hear the rest of the argument. Sheepishly, they left the group, thankful to be at liberty again, and retraced their steps up the trail through the wood, until they again reached the road. Neither said a word. This inglorious end to the adventure had left them crestfallen. They mounted their bicycles? Bicycles?
Left them crestfallen.
Actually, that's a pretty good character voice. I like that. Matt, how are your bicycles?
Had left them crestfallen.
Okay, they mounted their motorcycles.
Had left them crestfallen.
They mounted their motorcycles and drove back to Bayport. The house was in darkness. Bigger pause.
Left them crestfallen.
They mounted their mic.
Had left them crestfallen.
They mounted their motorcycles and drove back to Bayport. The house was in darkness. Quietly, they went back. Oh. Actually,
Reached the road.
that bit's got a lot of mouth clicking.
Neither said a word.
This inglorious end to the adventure had left them crestfallen. They mounted their motorcycles and drove back to Bayport. The house was in darkness. Quietly, they went up the back stairs and gained their bedroom. Spearing fish, said Frank, in a disgusted voice as he began to unlace his boots. He glanced at Joe, who was grinning broadly. Then, as they thought of their cautious pursuit of the two fishermen and of their certainty that they had found the automobile thieves at last, they began to laugh. The joke is on us, snickered Joe. It sure is. I hope the game wardens don't tell anyone about this. If Chet Morton ever gets hold of it, we'll never hear the end of the affair. But Chet, who had a way of picking up information in the most unexpected quarters, did hear of it. But Chet, who had a way of picking up information in the most unexpected quarters, did hear of it. All right, we did 3 chapters. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to... What are we at so far? 1 hour 53. Oh my gosh, we're actually probably only around about we're just under halfway through. Usually these books go anywhere from about 4.5 to 5.5 hours. So, I mean, we're doing okay. We have done well. If I just keep chugging away at this, every stream, 3 chapters a stream. Let's have a little look. Look, life is nothing but a series of small chunks that make up the whole. And if you can kind of split things up into smaller tasks, then things seem easy. That's a bit of advice for the boys, obviously, for you guys, sweethearts, but also, you know, for everyone watching this as well, obviously, a little reminder, big life is made up of little bits of life. So, right, today we've read Chapter 8, The Missing Truck, Chapter 9, Following Clues, and Chapter 10, The Great Discovery, which was pretty funny, actually. So now we have... How many chapters are there? There's 23 chapters. We're nearly halfway through. Yeah, that's exactly what I just said, isn't it? I said we were pretty much just before halfway through. Okay. Well, what we're going to do now is we've saved it. Let's just double check we've saved it. Good habits. And then, pardon me. We could record another thing from Kwaidan. How long is the next Kwaidan story? Let's find out. Go to, hang on, Project Gutenberg. Kwaidan. Stories and Studies of Strange Things. Read now. I believe we're up to the one after Rokurokubi, A Dead Secret. Great name. It's short. Okay, let's do A Dead Secret. Then we'll finish up for the night. I have work in the morning. I am streaming on another channel tomorrow night, and there's always work to do. I have a third channel as well, which I've got a little spurt of inspiration for recently, which I haven't touched for a couple of months, but I am keen to get back to. So we'll probably do something with that at some point soon. I'll probably start constructing a script. I don't think I've ever talked about that channel to many, if any, people. It had a very promising first video. Which got about 1,500 views. Well, as of now, it's got about 1,500 views off nothing. You know, that's the first video through the channel. I was pretty impressed. And the comments are glowingly promising. Very, very positive feedback. So I might have to push that one a little bit further out. And it's fun work. It's mind-numbingly bad doing the video edit. Maybe I need to hire a video editor. I've never considered this before, but maybe I need to do it. Maybe I do. Anyway, it's just to edit 1 minute of video, but to completion probably takes, at least an hour for me. And these are about 12 minutes long, so we're talking like 12 hours of work. Anyway, enough. Okay, what we'll do is we'll get rid of the Shore Road mystery. Have we still got Audacity? No, we have not. Oh, yes, we do. Here we go. So what I'll do is I delete the Rokurokubi file, just because I like the effect settings that I have. Then we're going to save it as a new file. You guys can't see this, but it's there. Just take my word for it. And it's called A Dead Secret. A Dead Secret raw. I'll save it as a raw audio file. I'm quickly going to change the name of this stream to include Kwaidan. Here we go. Save that. And then we move on with our life. Okie dokie artichoke. We've got A Dead Secret here. And A Dead Secret, I'm not sure. I don't think I've read this before. I'm actually going to do a pre-read, a raw pre-read, okay? And this is something I haven't done with Kwaidan before, but I feel like I want to approach these stories from a different way, especially if they're short. I might give them a pre-read. I think it might be beneficial, and also it means that I can open up this door just over here, and let a bit of a breeze through. Although it's funny, it's sweltering in here, but winter is coming. It's just the weather has taken a turn in the last week, so instead of getting kind of 24-degree nights with high humidity, we're now getting like 16 to 17-degree nights. It's been really quick. Also with pretty high humidity, but, we're in April, late April now, and it's about that time of year. Within 2 months from now, I'll kind of be playing this weird dance game between open and shut with the door, but, anyway, we'll see how we go. So A Dead Secret, let's just do a raw read. We're going to do a raw read of A Dead Secret, and then we're going to record it. Because it's only a few hundred words. All right, here we go. 886 words. Okay, not a problem. A Dead Secret. Okay. A long time ago in the province of Tamba. Okay, this is Japanese pronunciation, so it's not Tamba, it's Tamba. there lived a rich merchant named Inamuraya Gensuke. Inamuraya Gensuke. A long time ago in the province of Tamba, there lived a rich merchant named Inamuraya Gensuke. He had a daughter called Osono. As she was very clever and pretty, he thought it would be a pity to let her grow up with only such teaching as the country teachers could give her, so he sent her, in care of some trusty attendants, to Kyoto, that she might be trained in the polite accomplishments taught to the ladies of the capital. After she had thus been educated, she was married to a friend of her father's family, a merchant named Nagaraya, and she lived happily with him for nearly 4 years. They had one child, a boy, but Osono fell ill and died in the 4th year after her marriage. Oh dear. On the night after the funeral of Osono, her little son said that his mama had come back and was in the room upstairs. Jeez Louise. It's going to be one of those stories, eh? Oh, okay, I'm going to close the door. That's creeping me out, and it's also nearly midnight, so it's witching hour. Oh man, reading these stories at night is kind of sometimes a little bit... On the night after the funeral of Osono, her little son said that his mama had come back and was in the room upstairs. She had smiled at him but would not talk to him, so he became afraid and ran away. Then some of the family went upstairs to the room which had been Osono's, and they were startled to see, by the light of a small lamp which had been kindled before a shrine in that room, the figure of the dead mother. She appeared as if standing in front of a tansu, or a chest of drawers, that still contained her ornaments and her wearing apparel. Her head and shoulders could be very distinctly seen, but from the waist downwards the figure thinned into invisibility. It was like an imperfect reflection of her, and transparent as a shadow on water. That's a really cool way to describe a ghost. I don't think I've ever seen... It's very neat. Everything Lafcadio Hearn's doing that he does in terms of description and like imagery and stuff like that, character creation, combined with tone, is just beautifully concise. You can tell that he was a journalist. Okay, so the ghost has appeared. I'm going to read that last bit again. We're just doing a raw read through, and then we're going to record, okay? This is the raw. On the night after the funeral of Osono, her little son said that his mama had come back and was in the room upstairs. She had smiled at him, but would not talk to him, so he became afraid and ran away. Then some of the family went upstairs to the room which had been Osono's, and they were startled to see, by the light of a small lamp which had been kindled before a shrine in that room, the figure of the dead mother. She appeared as if standing in front of a tansu, or a chest of drawers, that still contained her ornaments and her wearing apparel. Her head and shoulders could be very distinctly seen, but from the waist downwards the figure thinned into invisibility. It was like an imperfect reflection of her, and transparent as a shadow on water. Then the folk were afraid and left the room. Below they consulted together, and the mother of Osono's husband said, "A woman is fond of her small things, and Osono was much attached to her belongings. Perhaps she has come back to look at them. Many dead persons will do that, unless the things be given to the parish temple. If we present Osono's robes and girdles to the temple, her spirit will probably find rest." It was agreed that this should be done as soon as possible, so on the following morning the drawers were emptied, and all of Osono's ornaments and dresses were taken to the temple. But she came back the next night, and looked at the tansu as before, and she came back also on the night following, and the night after that, and every night, and the house became a house of fear. The mother of Osono's husband then went to the parish temple, and told the chief priest all that had happened, and asked for ghostly counsel. The temple was a Zen temple, and the head priest was a learned old man known as Daigen Osho. He said, "There must be something about which she is anxious, in or near that tansu." "But we emptied all the drawers," replied the woman. "There is nothing in the tansu." "Well," said Daigen Osho, "tonight I shall go to your house and keep watch in that room and see what can be done. You must give orders that no person shall enter the room while I am watching, unless I call." After sundown, Daigen Osho went to the house and found the room made ready for him, He remained there alone, reading the sutras, and nothing appeared until after the hour of the rat. Then, the figure of Osono suddenly outlined itself in front of the tansu. Her face had a wistful look, and she kept her eyes fixed upon the tansu. The priest uttered the holy formula prescribed in such cases, and then, addressing the figure by the kaimyo of Osono, and then, addressing the figure by the kaimyo of Osono, said, "I have come here in order to help you. I have come here in order to help you. I have come here in order to help you. Perhaps in that tansu there is something about which you have reason to feel anxious. Shall I try to find it for you?" The shadow appeared to give assent by a slight motion of the head, and the priest, rising, opened the top drawer. It was empty. Successively he opened the second, the third, and the fourth drawer. He searched carefully behind them and beneath them. He carefully examined the interior of the chest. He found nothing. But the figure remained gazing as wistfully as before. "What can she want?" thought the priest. Suddenly it occurred to him that there might be something hidden under the paper with which the drawers were lined. He removed the lining of the first drawer. Nothing. He removed the lining of the second drawer and third drawers. Still nothing. But under the lining of the lowermost drawer he found a letter. "Is this the thing about which you have been troubled?" he asked. The shadow of the woman turned toward him, her faint gaze fixed upon the letter. "Shall I burn it for you?" he asked. She bowed before him. "It shall be burned in the temple this very morning," he promised, "and no one shall read it except myself." The figure smiled and vanished. Dawn was breaking as the priest descended the stairs to find the family waiting anxious below. "Do not be anxious," he said to them. "She will not appear again." And she never did. The letter was burned. It was a love letter written to Osono in the time of her studies at Kyoto. But the priest alone knew what was in it, and the secret died with him. Interesting. Bizarre. I wonder what there's a few obvious cultural morals and kind of axioms there, I suppose, aren't there, about women and their love of trinkets and things like that. Obviously, it's a bit on the nose for me, but personally, yeah, I totally get what they're getting at. No worries. We can do this. All right, we're going to do the recording. Get relaxed. G'day, guys, and welcome back to Boring Dad Sleep Stories. Tonight, we're reading A Dead Secret by Lafcadio O'Hearn. This is a short story in an anthology of short stories of his called Kwaidan. What's it called again? Oh, every time. So annoying. Stories and Studies of Strange Things. Called story. Okay, get the spectrograph up. In an anthology of short stories of his called Kwaidan, Stories and Studies of Strange Things. And it was published in 1904. Boys. And it was published in 1904. And just a quick little reminder that this entire channel is dedicated to our two sons, who are currently aged 6 and 3. Boys, your mother and I love you so much. Avanti. Alrighty. A Dead Secret. Alright. Let's go. Avanti. A long time ago, in the province of Tamba, there lived a rich merchant named Inamoraya Gensuke. Inamoraya. Avanti. Nose click. Avanti. A long time ago, in the province of Tamba, there lived a rich merchant named Inamuraya Gensuke. He had a daughter called Osono. As she was very clever and pretty, he thought it would be a pity to let her grow up with only such teaching as the country teachers could give her. So he sent her in care of some trusty attendants to Kyoto, that she might be trained in the polite accomplishments taught to the ladies of the capital. After she had thus been educated, she was married to a friend of her family's. After she had thus been educated, she was married to a friend of her father's family, a merchant named Nagaraya, and she lived happily with him for nearly 4 years. They had one child, a boy. But Osono fell ill and died in the 4th year after her marriage. On the night after the funeral of Osono, her little son said that his mama had come back and was in the room upstairs. She had smiled at him, but would not talk to him. So he became afraid and ran away. Then some of the family went upstairs to the room. But would not talk to him. But would not talk to him. But would not talk to him. So he became afraid and ran away. Then some of the family went upstairs to the room which had been Osono's, and they were startled to see by the light. But would not talk to him. So he became afraid and ran away. Then some of the family went upstairs to the room which had been Osono's, and they were startled to see, by the light of a small lamp which had been kindled before a shrine in that room, the figure of the dead mother. She appeared as if standing in front of a tansu, or chest of drawers, that still contained her ornaments and her wearing apparel. Her head and shoulders could be very distinctly seen, but from the waist downwards, the figure. Actually, there's a bit back here from the figure of the dead mother. The figure of the dead mother. She appeared as if standing in front of a tansu, or chest of drawers, that still contained her ornaments and. The figure of the dead mother. She appeared as if standing in front of a tansu, or chest of drawers, that still contained her ornaments and her wearing apparel. Her head and shoulders could be very distinctly seen, but from the waist downwards, the figure thinned into invisibility. It was like an imperfect reflection of her, and transparent as a shadow on water. Then the folk were afraid, and left the room. Below they consulted together, and the mother of Osono's husband said, "A woman is fond of her small things, and Osono was much attached to her belongings. Perhaps she has come back to look at them. Many dead persons will do that, unless the things be given to the parish temple. If we present Osono's robes and girdles to the temple, her spirit will probably find rest." It was agreed that this should be done as soon as possible. So on the following morning the drawers were emptied, and all of Osono's ornaments and dresses were taken to the temple. But she came back. Mouth click. Soft. I think it was like a hard palate mouth click. That's a weird one. And dresses were taken to the temple. But she came back the next night and looked at the tansu as before. And she came back also on the night following, and the night after that, and every night. And the house became a house of fear. Pardon me. House became a house of fear. The mother of Osono's husband then went to the parish temple and told the chief priest all that had happened, and asked for ghostly counsel. The temple was a Zen temple, and the head priest was a learned old man known as Daigen Osho. He said,
There must be something about which she is anxious, in or near that tansu. But we emptied all the drawers. In or near that tansu.
But we emptied all the drawers, replied the woman. There is nothing in the tansu.
Well, said Daigan Osho, tonight I shall go to your house and keep watch in that room, and see what can be done. You must give orders that no person shall enter the room while I am watching, unless I call. After sundown, Daigen Osho went to the house and found the room made ready for him. He remained there, alone, reading the sutras, and nothing appeared until after the hour of the rat. Then, the figure of Osono suddenly outlined itself in front of the tansu. Her face had a wistful look, and she kept her eyes fixed upon the tansu. I've got to look up this tansu. I just need to see. Let's have a look. Oh, beautiful. Oh, in a ghost story, quite creepy. I've got to see. Okay, now that I've seen, we've mentioned the word tansu so many times. Okay, let's go. She kept her eyes fixed upon the tansu. And she kept her eyes fixed upon the tansu. There we go, the priest uttered. Fixed upon the tansu. The priest uttered the holy formula prescribed in such cases, and then, addressing the figure by the kaimyo of Osono, said, I have come here in order to help you. Perhaps in that tansu there is something about which you have reason to feel anxious. Shall I try to find it for you? The shadow appeared to give assent by a slight motion of the head. Appeared to give assent by a slight motion of the head. Appeared to give assent by a slight motion of the head. And the priest, rising, opened the top drawer. It was empty. Successively he opened the second, the third, and the fourth drawer. He searched carefully behind them and beneath them. He carefully examined the interior of the chest, and he found nothing. But the figure remained gazing as wistfully as before. What can she want? Thought the priest. Suddenly, it occurred to him that there might be something hidden under the paper with which, come on, bro. She want, thought the priest. She want, thought the priest. Suddenly, it occurred to him that there might be something hidden under the paper with which the drawers were lined. He removed the lining of the first drawer. Nothing. He removed the lining of the second and third drawers. Still, nothing. But under the lining of the lowermost drawer, he found a letter. Is this the thing about which you have been troubled? He asked. The shadow of the woman turned toward him, her faint gaze fixed upon the letter. Shall I burn it for you? He asked. She bowed before him. It shall be burned in the temple this very morning, he promised, and no one shall read it except myself. The figure smiled and vanished. Dawn was breaking as the priest descended the stairs to find the family waiting anxiously below. Do not be anxious, he said to them. She will not appear again. And she never did. The letter was burned. It was a love letter written to Osono in the time of her studies at Kyoto. But the priest alone knew what was in it, and the secret died with him. The end. Okay, if we can get that made and posted, I will feel quite good about this day. And then I've got a couple of mods to do to the booth, and then I've got to go to bed. Got work in the morning. All right, this has been fun though. It's been productive. It's been a hella productive last 24 hours.
Okay. So, alrighty. We are going to do a proof listen. It's very small, a story. We're going to join it together. We're going to, did I save it? Yeah, good habits. Join. Okay, add the macro. The audiobook, the ACX macro. It will make it compliant with generally most audiobook levels and volume and peak volumes and all that kind of stuff. Standards, good stuff. We like it. But now, as you can see, as you might be able to see, it's quite hazy. And that's bad, okay, because that is our background noise. See all that haze there. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly select all. We're going to double check what the background noise. So we have peak level of 3.6. That's a pass. That's easy. We've got an RMS level of 20.13. Perfect. Some people would say that's a touch loud, but it's in the compliance range that we want. And the noise floor, now this is where it gets a bit funny because it's minus 65.4 decibels. And that, all these measurements are in decibels, by the way. And that complies with things like ACX and Spotify, but, or Spotify as far as I know, definitely Audible, ACX, Amazon standards. But I think it can be minus 62 or below, but I prefer it to be a little bit quieter. I don't want it to be as quiet as, say, minus 80, but I usually like to get it to about 70 to 75. So what we do now is we select a sample of quiet space, like this, where there's nothing being said. I'm going to go up to Effect in Audacity, go to Noise Removal and Repair, go to Noise Reduction, click on Get Noise Profile, done. Now I click Select All, Control A, then Control R to repeat the last action, which is I'm going to apply that macro. There we go. And there we go. That's applying itself. It shouldn't take too long because it's only 7 minutes long, and that's great. We like that. All right. Now the noise level should be around about minus 72, I believe. Let's check that macro. Did that macro checking again? Checking macro, sorry. Minus 71.39. There we go. Okay, which means it could do with another little dose. Come on now. What's going on there? That's interesting. Control R does not work. Oh well. It's all right. I'll just do it in the effect drop down, effect, and then repeat. It's a good little shortcut. That's built into Audacity, actually. My hotkeys aren't, but that one is. That's good. All right, and now it should be around about probably, could be even as low as minus 78. Minus 77.39. Okay, wow. It's almost like I've done this before. Okay, right. Few hundred times. Right, okay. So, let's go. G'day, guys, and welcome back to Boring Dad. I'm just going to double check that volume, and if it's too loud for you, please do feel free to turn it down. I'm sorry. It's a bit different because now I've made everything, I've embiggened the noise. I've raised the levels of everything. So, do excuse me. I'm going to mute the microphone for a little bit and see what that volume is like. Okay? Made everything. G'day, guys, and welcome back to Boring Dad Sleep Stories. Tonight, we're reading A Dead Secret by Lafcadio Hearn. This is a short story in an anthology of short stories of his called Kwaidan, Stories and Studies of Strange Things. And it was published in 1904. And just a quick little reminder that this entire channel is dedicated to our two sons, who are currently aged 6 and 3. Boys, your mother and I love you so much. Avanti. A long time ago, in the province of Tamba, there lived a rich merchant named Inamuraya Gensuke.
Just going to have a stretch.
He had a daughter called Osono. As she was very clever and pretty, he thought it would be a pity to let her grow up with only such teaching as the country teachers could give her. So he sent her in care of some trusty attendants to Kyoto, that she might be trained in the polite accomplishments taught to the ladies of the capital. After she had thus been educated, she was married to a friend of her father's family, a merchant named Nagaraya, and she lived happily with him for nearly 4 years. They had one child, a boy. But Osono fell ill and died in the 4th year after her marriage. On the night after the funeral of Osono, her little son said that his mama had come back and was in the room. Okay, hang on. What I might do there is where it's kind of like the beginning of a new chapter, isn't it? So, in the 4th year after her marriage, that his mama had come. 4th year after her marriage. On the night after the funeral. Okay, so I'm going to do what's called a punch copy. You can't see the screen. One day I've got to do like a whole screen capture so you guys can see exactly what this looks like. Okay, right. So split that section from that section. I'll give it an extra second. And then I'm going to... Where is it? There. I'm going to punch paste, which is going to insert a silence of the exact type that was there before. And then I'm going to join that back together. Oh wait, the whole thing. And then we're going to... Alright. Sorry, it's a bit rude that I'm standing, but... right. There we go. It's been a long time sitting down today. They had one child, a boy. But Osono fell ill and died in the 4th year after her marriage. Okay. On the night after the funeral of Osono, her little son said that his mama had come back and was in the room upstairs. She had smiled at him, but would not talk to him. So he became afraid and ran away. Then some of the family went upstairs to the room which had been Osono's, and they were startled to see, by the light of a small lamp which had been kindled before a shrine in that room, the figure of the dead mother. She appeared as if standing in front of a tansu, or chest of drawers, that still contained her ornaments and her wearing apparel. Her head and shoulders could be very distinctly seen, but from the waist downwards, the figure thinned into invisibility. It was like an imperfect reflection of her, and transparent as a shadow on water. Then, the folk were afraid, and left the room. Below they consulted together, and the mother of Osono's husband said, "A woman is fond of her small thing." It's also very, it's anti-urban. It's like a rural versus urban kind of argument as well. She went away to the big city, then came back and got married. She had regrets from the big city, which haunted her. She kept the romance letter, the love letter, which was obviously the thing she regretted and was her unfinished business. So it was kind of like a guilty pleasure. So don't hold on to past loves. Focus on your family, etc., etc. So I see, yeah, okay. So I'm trying to like recognize the kind of messages they're giving here. Okay, I'm just opening up the door a little. Let a bit of breeze through. It's chilly out there, but it's hot in here. A woman is fond of her small things, and Osono was much attached to her belongings. Perhaps she has come back to look at them. Many dead persons will do that. Nose breathing. It just doesn't matter. What am I doing this for? I feel silly for taking it away, really. Many dead persons will do that, unless the things be given to the parish temple. If we present Osono's robes and girdles to the temple, her spirit will probably find rest. It was agreed that this should be done as soon as possible. So on the following morning, the drawers were emptied, and all of Osono's ornaments and dresses were taken to the temple. What was that in the background? That's weird. Anyway, doesn't matter. Taken to the temple. But she came back the next night and looked at the tansu as before. And she came back also on the night following, and the night after that, and every night. And the house became a house of fear. The mother of Osono's husband then went to the parish temple and told the chief priest all that had happened. And all that had happened, and told the chief priest all that had happened, and asked for ghostly counsel. The temple was a Zen temple, and the head priest was a learned old man known as Daigen Osho. He said, "There must be something about which she is anxious, in or near that tansu." "But we emptied all the drawers," replied the woman. "There is nothing in the tansu." "Well," said Daigen Osho, "tonight I shall go to your house and keep watch in that room, and see what can be done. You must give orders that no person shall enter the room while I am watching, unless I call." After sundown, Daigen Osho went to the house and found the room made ready for him. He remained there, alone, reading the sutras, and nothing appeared. Okay. Alone, reading the sutras, and nothing appeared until after the hour of the rat. Past halfway. We're going to get there. Nothing appeared without me falling asleep after the hour of the rat. Then, the figure of Osono suddenly outlined itself in front of the tansu. Her face had a wistful look, and she kept her eyes fixed upon the tansu. The priest uttered the holy formula prescribed in such cases, and then, addressing the figure by the kaimyo of Osono, said, "I have come here in order to help you. Perhaps in that tansu there is something about which you have reason to feel anxious. Shall I try to find it for you?" The shadow appeared to give assent by a slight motion of the head, and the priest, rising, opened the top drawer. It was empty. Successively he opened the second, the third, and the fourth drawer. He searched carefully behind them and beneath them. He carefully examined the interior of the chest, and he found nothing. But the figure remained gazing as wistfully as before. "What can she want?" thought the priest. Suddenly, it occurred to him that there might be something hidden under the paper with which the drawers were lined. He removed the lining of the first drawer. Nothing. He removed the lining of the second and third drawers. Still nothing. But under the lining of the lowermost drawer he found a letter. "Is this the thing about which you have been troubled?" he asked. The shadow of the woman turned toward him, her faint gaze fixed upon the letter. "Shall I burn it for you?" he asked. She bowed before him. "It shall be burned in the temple this very morning," he promised, "and no one shall read it except myself." The figure smiled and vanished. Nice. Dawn was breaking as the priest descended the stairs to find the family waiting anxiously below. "Do not be anxious," he said to them. "She will not appear again." And she never did. And she never did. The letter was burned. It was a love letter written to Osono in the time of her studies at Kyoto. But the priest alone knew what was in it. And the secret died with him. The end. Right. Yeah. Right. I'm pretty happy with that overall. I'd say I'm pretty darn happy with that. Okay. Simple stuff now. Now on to the fun part of the night. Hey! Okay, right, so we're going to save this here into Boring Dad Sleep Stories in the audio file. Right. So. Here we go. I'm going to chuck on some music now. Just the classic, the usual. Just the usual. And I'm going to see how that sounds. Okay, I just want to see how that sounds compared to my voice when I'm speaking in a normal voice. Okay. It's pretty good. So our next job, well, oh wait, no, that's done. So now it's pretty simple. We're going to turn that MP3 file, we're going to turn that MP3 file upside down into an MP3. Oh my god, I can't even do the dad joke. I give up. Okay, right, so we've got to turn the MP3 file that I've just rendered into an MP4 file. So I recorded, and once I had recorded, oh, weird. That's really strange. Oh, that's why. So I recorded my voice, I edited, I mastered, I rendered it into an MP3 file. It's in accordance to ACX or Audible or Amazon standards, whatever you call it. Not that we're going to use it for that, but it's all good. And then now we're turning it into an MP4 file in CapCut. CapCut is for the devil, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan of it, really. It feels kind of bloated and yet restrictive at the same time, if that makes any sense. So many features that I'll never use. Boring Dad Sleep Stories. Here we go. We'll go into the Kwaidan folder. I'm going to open up this, what's it called again? A Dead Secret. Great name, by the way. Timeless horror. Okay, we're going to start exporting that as an MP4. And while you guys can't see that, of course, you will be able to see this. I'm now going to open up a Paint window, Microsoft Paint. It's a classic. And I'm going to now look for a quote from the story to put onto the thumbnail. And I've got people talking in the chat. That's unusual. But you're welcome. Oh, hey King. You're just imagining your kids looking back on this one day and seeing these random people you know, that you know, but they don't know, and they're just like that. I wonder who these people are. They'll probably really, really be good at gaming. Well, if they're related to me, King, they won't be. If they take after their dad, they won't be any good at gaming. But if they take after their uncle, my older brother, and actually one of my younger brothers, like I was saying on the other channel today, he's an addict and he's semi-pro. Like he could go semi-pro, but he's a Robloxer. He got caught on the Roblox. And my older brother is another person that I used to watch a lot playing N64. So you know how I'm doing the solo playthroughs of Zelda. Oh, you mean you're good at gaming? Oh, I see. They're going to think that you're really good at gaming. Well, they'll see the username and they'll be like, wow, that was a hit game that he named his channel after. All right, let's look for a quote here. I'm going to get my tablet out. This is where I get most use of my tablet. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Here we go. Here it is. Hello. Grab my little stylus out and we'll get going. I'm going to unplug my Xbox controller for this, but after tonight I will be upgrading and hopefully we'll never have to unplug anything like this on stream and readjust everything, but famous last words. All right, now that I've got my tablet there, I can start writing on Paint. You are good at gaming though, legit. Okay. Yep, that's working. Wonderful. Okay. I like to use the calligraphy brush, and I like to put it at around about 18 point. And now I will, and in a second you're probably going to hear that audio kick in, but that's because it's indicating that it has finished the render for the MP4, which is going to get uploaded. All right, okay. So we're going to find a quote. It shouldn't be too clickbaity. Actually, no. Heck, why not? Heck. Let's see. Hang on. I like this bit. This is the scariest bit. Her little son said that his mama had come back and was in the room upstairs. She had smiled at him but would not talk to him. It's crazy, bro. Oh. An imperfect reflection of her. I like that. That little excerpt there. An imperfect reflection of her. That's good. Let me know if the noise is too uneven, guys, by the way. If you can hear my voice over the music just fine, let me know. And if you can't, let me know too, by the way, if there are actually people in the chat. Okay, I'm going to get on to writing that. And in a second, I'm sure you'll hear the other audio kick in. Soon, we're going to start uploading. The final upload. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. The music sounds straight out of How to Train Your Dragon. So kind of Celtic. It's supposed to be Japanese. This is what it is. It's Japanese music, no copyright. Oh, okay. So that means that the video is done. Thank you, CapCut. I hate you, CapCut. But I need you at the moment because I'm not bothered learning something else right now. Final Cut Pro, I know, is what you use, King, isn't it? You said last night, didn't you? Right, okay, so what am I doing here again? Oh yes, I'm going to quickly start the upload because that takes a couple of minutes. All right, we'll upload a video here. You, once again, cannot see this, mostly because I don't want you to see my YouTube Creator Studio. Not that there's anything wrong, you know, just generally. Okay, videos, boring dad sleep stories. It's called, what's it called again? Oh gosh. 24th? 12/20. I think that's it. I didn't name the file properly. Okay, here we go. Nope, you use Premiere Pro. Oh, sorry, the best editing software that I'm sadly loyal to. That's right. What's the video? Oh, the video is the audiobook that I just recorded, which is a ghost story. I've been going through and slowly recording a couple of chapters per stream of the Hardy Boys, the latest Hardy Boys book that I'm doing, The Shore Road Mystery. But I'm also working my way through this, which is an anthology, like a collection of short stories that was written by this dude about 120 years ago in Japan. And it's called Kwaidan, Stories and Studies of Strange Things. His name was Lafcadio Hearn. He was an American dude who went to live in Japan. He was like a journalist and something like that. No, this is just for the channel. This is just for the channel. So I try and get something uploaded per stream, and that way I'm kind of keeping the momentum going for the boys channel. So that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, client stuff I'm not going to do on live stream just because of I haven't signed any NDAs or anything like that for clients I think there's only maybe one client I've ever signed an NDA for, and even then it was more of a digital handshake than it was an actual contract. But yeah, what did it say? Would you even be allowed to record yourself doing client work? Yes, yeah. So you've preempted me there. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I answered your question. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So obviously, they probably wouldn't be too keen on that. I think if I ever get out of the game, before you asked, hey mate, well, great minds think alike. What can I say? If I ever get out of the voiceover game, if my YouTube career ever takes off, so in 2047, when my YouTube career takes off, I will maybe do like I will maybe try and do like a series on reviewing my own videos from, there's like just scattered all across YouTube. There are these little nuggets, these little pockets of my voice everywhere. But it's like sometimes it's my voice like this, and sometimes it's my voice like this, and sometimes it's really like a kind of casual conversational voice, and sometimes it's my voice like this, and sometimes it's my voice like this, and it's just like it's everywhere. It's ridiculous. There are even some English learning as a foreign language like websites out there, schools, educational schools that are like language schools online that have my voice all dotted around them and stuff like that. You do some weird stuff when you do this work. Okay, so we read, these are all basically ghost stories, like ancient Japanese ghost stories that he translated from locals that he met, including the woman that would become his wife, funnily enough. A dead secret is what we read today, and this is the quote we're going to choose as our thumbnail. If you look on the page, you'll see, on my channel page, landing page, you'll see, lately I've just been getting really lazy with the thumbnails because I'm trying to, I want to attract the kind of person to this channel who's going to just not care about thumbnails and stuff like that. They'll care about, if they want to subscribe, great, but they'll care about the message that is, I'm doing it for my boys, right? And that's what it is, because it really is. And at the same time, I just don't want people to be coming in thinking that I'm like, I'd love it if this channel grew, but the aim is the boys, for the boys. As long as you're having fun and you're doing it for fun and not getting big. Trying to get big is just too much of a commitment. Yeah, I wouldn't try and get big for this channel, not with this channel. And also I don't know, getting big, I feel like reading between the lines of everything I've seen with other channels, if you are, there is like a grind fest type channel, and like they will grind. And it's called automation channels, and they are just like the most soulless things. The channel that I have had viral, the one channel like mega viral, like proper viral, like 1 to 6 million views per video, like 3 or 4 times over 2-month period, and then they dumped me for an AI voice. They're a grind fest. I've been part of other grind fests that have done pretty well, not as good as them though. They're up to about 120,000 subscribers. I saw them through to about, I think we got up to 42,000. But keep in mind, I think about 30,000 of those subscribers came from one video. It was massive. What am I going to make my thumbnails in? Canva, yeah, love Canva. You'd like to hit 100K, but your goal would be 1 million. If I ever choose to make content as my goal. Yeah, I mean, the world is wide and life is long, is what I'm saying about that. I feel like it's a slow burn for the majority of people. If you go back and look at some of your favorite channels, some of them look like they blew up overnight, but they actually have just deleted their old videos. It's a really common tactic. And some people really have blown up overnight. And other people, if you go back, their videos are, they've got videos going back 17 years, 15 to 17, however old YouTube is. So, I use Canva Pro, but it's an online thing. Once again, I'd like to break free from Canva, but it's just easy. That and CapCut are my only 2 subscriptions left, though. I used to use Upbeat for my royalty-free music. Now I just use whatever I find on YouTube in their YouTube studio, which is great. I think we might have talked about that before. Anyway, let me get back to this. Dude, you could totally hit 100,000 to 1 million if you really wanted to, King. I'm sure you could. Yeah. Some of the niches that I've seen get big, you'd be the same, right? You kind of go, wow, people are really into that. You're like, wow, 3 million people watched that? And you're like, huh. And yeah. There's just a niche for everyone, is what I'm saying. And so once you find one that fits, I'm trying to find something that really just fits a natural version of myself that doesn't require much moderation. I was talking about half an hour ago about a channel that I've got going on that I don't think I've mentioned it to you guys ever. And I haven't mentioned it to anyone. I don't think even my wife has seen, or I haven't even talked about it at home, but the first video I did got about, it's a 12-minute video, and it's up to about 1,600 views. And I tried some other formats with that channel just before I went away on holiday last Christmas. And then after I got back, I tried more
formats. Like, I tried to make it as lazy as possible, and people did not respond. Like, I lost, subscribers over it. So, but I keep getting comments on that first video, and it keeps steadily just going up in that analytic graph. And yeah, like, people are just openly being like, make more of this type of video. Like, someone said in a comment, like, within the last 2 days, they were like, I would like you to make more videos like this style going forward, and like trying to imply that, the other videos were crap. And I was just like, okay, yeah, fair, whatever. The only problem is it's mega video edits, that's all. Like, it's a bit more like viral edits, but it's not. It's like video essay kind of edits. I'm thinking about actually hiring someone to do the video edit, because that's what's stopping me do more with that channel. It grinds my soul into the dust, so. For thumbnails, oh yeah, what do you use? Yeah, for thumbnails, use Krita. Krita? It's a drawing software mainly, but you use it. Probably not best for thumbnails. I'll learn Photoshop one day when I have a PC. Yeah, nice. I have way too many channels. Well, yes and no. Yeah, you're right. On the face of it, yeah, I do. But what I'm doing, mate, is like, I cast my net wide, but in a range of, like, I'm doing a range of things that I know that I can have a go at. Do you know what I mean? Something that I don't have to, like, really push to do, like, to learn, and I want to actually enjoy what I'm doing. And the thing about me is I enjoy so many things. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoy so many topics, and one channel that dealt with gaming, audiobooks, video essays, and gardening, it would be mega personality based, and it would just, I don't know how that would work, like, if I actually wanted it to get big. But also, like, the audiobook channel for the boys here, I want it to be just for them. I want it to feel like that. But if I was doing, say, the video essays, that would not feel the same way. The way that I want to do them is not the way that this would feel. So, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you're right. I have too many, but they're all very much parts of my personality and parts of my interests. So, and I think if one of them, like, I'm going to keep the boys one going, hopefully. But if, for example, the one that you and I usually go on to, if that one got a bit bigger than, say, the video essay one, I just ditch the video essay one. And if the video essay one goes wild, I'll hire a video editor so that I can script that, voice it, they can do the edits, and then I can make that as automated as possible. Not automated properly, but automated, like, I'll do the thumbnails, I'll do the voice, I'll do the script. That's not automation. One person doing everything, that's not automation. But yeah, and I'll try and make that one work, like, as smoothly as possible, and then focus on our channel that you and I are on. But yeah, it's just like, I'm just kind of fiddling around at the moment, yeah. Watch the channel that got 1,600 views. I'm not gonna share it. Not right now, like, I'm not confident in it yet. But I don't know, like, it might actually, and also, like, I haven't told family about it. It's the only one, actually, our channel, there is no one on our channel that I have asked to sub to the channel, if you know what I mean. Whereas, and the video essay one, no one. It's all organic growth. There is, like, the gardening channel and this channel, there are heaps of my family on these ones. So, yeah, it's a bit of a mix. Yeah. What did you say? You just have a main channel, and the other channel would just be everything else. Yeah, I think I saw Ludwig talking about having a slop channel, like a slop, as in everything else channel. Yeah, I remember hearing about that. Hang on, let me just try and multitask here, mate, because I've got to... Actually, no, let me just get rid of that. I'm going to get this quote down. An imperfect reflection of her, I think, is going to be what I choose. And I usually just spend a lot of time on this, but I'm not going to spend too long in an hour. So I'll try and do this and have a little chat to you at the same time. I'm going to try and learn how to multitask a bit better. Okay, so this is going to be on our thumbnail for this audiobook. Okay, an imperfect... I'm just going to do a couple of letters, then I'll check the chat, and then I'll do a couple of letters, and then check the chat. Do you think that people will get the irony of me leaving imperfect writing in the word imperfect? Because some of these letters are pretty dodgy. An imperfect? A main channel. Yeah, I know what you mean about the main channel thing, yeah. An imperfect reflection of her. Let's go. I feel like having someone in the chat while I do this is making it a lot better than it usually is. Because usually I agonize over this part of it. I rewrite these usually about 2 or 3 times, it feels like. How did Sefik find this channel? Maybe I showed it to him ages ago. I'm gonna have to, oh my gosh, this word is going off chops though. Nah. Okay, what are you saying? Damn, you're good at that. Ah, see, it's the tablet. That's all it is. It's not me, it's the tablet. It's nothing to do with me. It just makes everything look good using the calligraphy pen as well. Because if you use the calligraphy pen, it makes the imperfections look really like nice and antique vintage, like I meant to do it. I also don't mind if it looks a little bit imperfect because, you know, I want it to look like I've done it by hand. And this is also a part of the legacy project that is this channel, because this is my handwriting. So like, I'd love for my boys to see, you know, see what I write like. So yeah. Oh, a tablet. You thought that was a mouse. Oh, imagine. No, I keep forgetting to hook this up for when we play Gartic Phone and when we play Scribble and stuff. Things would be different if I had this, but I kept on forgetting last time. And I was like in the middle of the game of her. But no, don't you worry, like, no skill here, my friend. Is that too much like a K? Do you think that H is too much like a K? I think I'm gonna leave it like that. Alright, no, I don't like those quotation marks though. Oh, see how fussy I get? It's literally just a thumbnail. Oh, these are okay. That'll do. And I actually cheat here because if I tried to do quotation marks, what am I trying to say here? Over there, like naturally with the calligraphy pen, they look completely different to that because of like the cut of the pen nib. So we're gonna have a little look here. Here we go. An imperfect reflection of her. So if I do the quotation marks over here like this, hang on, they look like that. But if I do them this way, how different is that? It's crazy. So I keep the nice looking ones. Well, I think they look nice anyway. Okay, right. We're gonna have a little fiddle around with this. Okay. Sure. Here we go. It doesn't really matter the placement in the center. It more matters the... I'll take it down a bit there. Then I'll change this to freeform. And then what I'll do is I'll try and cut around this line. I think I need to give this, it's a bit close. Ooh. Yeah, no, but I am part of that generation. I'm sure you guys do it as well, still. We became like experts in Microsoft Paint at my age because like that was our editing software at school. Like we'd use Paint for like for assignments, like actual assignments. So, and that's what our teachers expected of us.
All right, that'll do there. That'll do, lad. Yeah, I'm going to save that. What are you saying? Oh, you're saying it. Yeah. Sorry, I haven't said anything. Sorry. But yeah, how is are you still feeling pretty inspired to do your channel stuff at the moment, King? How's that feeling for you at the moment? Now that we've got that going. I might actually... Canva's cool. Hey, look, remember that one? Alright, there we go. Alright. So I'll just drag this into the Canva. Yeah, can you imagine? No, look, dude, I would recommend buying a tablet. It is a bit of an expense, but I think this was like $100. It's called One by Wacom. It's got, you know, WACOM, and the model is called One. And I think it was like a previous model or something, so JB Hi-Fi was selling it for a bit of a special. I think it was down from 120 to 100. I don't know, I can't remember. But they're pretty cool. The only problem is you have to look at the screen while you write, so you have to get used to like not looking at what you're writing. Like if you get one with a proper screen, you can hold it here like this and write. But I actually prefer not to do that because I'm left-handed, so I cover over what I see, like what I'm writing, sorry, so I can't actually see it. It's better this way. Once you get used to it a little bit. Okay, right. So I'm gonna go to pictures here. What was it again? Her, an imperfect reflection of her. There we go. Oh yeah. I'm gonna drag that. Whatever, bro. Whatever. Okay. There we go. Now, the problem that you're going to face here is we obviously have not got we haven't got a transparent background, but that's fine. We just chuck this on 90 degrees. I'm going to make it bigger. Chuck it in the center. Doesn't really matter. Not the way that I do it. I don't expect many views. Like, I mean, it's not that I don't want the views, but like I said, if people like the thumbnail style, they like it. And if they don't, they don't, and that's okay. Now, obviously, this looks not what we want. So what we're going to do now is we're going to click on the background remover. It's really good, actually. And it's pretty darn good. Look at that. There we go. I'm just going to crop it down here a little bit. Don't need to even do that. This is more work than I ever put into it anyway. Alright, okay. An imperfect reflection of her. Boom. Done. That's literally going to be it. And if I become known for that style on this channel, that's all I want. I was sick of doing these AI-based, image-based combinations of like real covers of books and making them AI-enhanced and all that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to wean myself off Canva, so in order to do that, I stopped the AI stuff, and then I could do this off Canva now, but I do other stuff with Canva, so... Alright, now that we've done that, I'll chuck this thumbnail on. Oh, call you biased, but you reckon the 1 a week solo play on the other channel is better. 1 a week solo play. 1 a week solo play. My channel is better. I've also got to go play Minecraft with a different person. Yeah, I've been wondering about that. Yeah, I understand that people aren't really possibly going to be into the solo play as much. Yeah, I like the group involvement. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. But I also want to do solo play. Do you know what I mean? So maybe 1 a week. Yeah, maybe 1 a week. Yeah. And maybe once the Patreon gets going, part of the thing we can do on Patreon is we can do a live game session on Patreon as well. An extra gaming session a week, and it'll be like led by you guys or something, or like a game that one of us plays that's... Like we'll do a roster where people get to choose, like no votes, just one person gets to choose. So yeah, now you guys get to punish me. You gotta go play Minecraft with a different person. No worries, mate. Jeez, you're a popular fella. Well, this will be uploaded within the next 10 minutes. So, if you want to hear a cool ghost story, it's very short. Otherwise, have a great day, man. And thanks very much for dropping by. Ooh. Have a great day. Night, and yeah, thanks for dropping by, King. I'll see you on the other channel, eh? Cheers, man. Alright. hurrah! And in terms of what you're talking about there, not that you're here anymore, but I'll probably do the solo playthroughs at the frequency that I'm doing now until I at least finish Ocarina of Time, and then I'm going to make a decision. I'll probably decide if I want to keep on doing solo plays in general, or if I want to, because I'd love to do more Ocarina of Time, I'll be honest with you. Like, I want to maybe do some speedrunning stuff or find some secrets, do some completionist stuff. I don't know. But I'm trying to attract with the shorts on that channel. I'm trying to funnel everyone that goes into the shorts into the live. And it's not working at the moment, but I've only done like 3 shorts. But I'm also trying to make it a little bit more retro game based. And I would love for us to do more retro games, I'll be honest with you. Like, it'd be fun. But retro games, multiplayers require a lot of emulators and ROMs, so I think. I don't really know. Unless we do it all on Steam, and that'd be okay too. Right, so what am I doing here? Ah, yeah, that's right. What is this called again? A dead secret. Okay. Okay, we're about to go live. We're going to publish this. I've I have pressed publish. Okay. Okay, everybody. Well, that's going to be the end of the stream for tonight. Thanks for joining me, Sefik. Thanks for joining me, Little Kings Gamer. And if you're listening to this later on, apologies if I got a bit sidetracked there with talking about other channel stuff. But yeah, I don't know if I would even call myself a YouTuber, even though I have a lot of involvement on YouTube. I feel like I'm a person who uses YouTube a lot, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense? And I think also, if I said that I was a YouTuber, it would have a whole bunch of connotations that come along with it for me that would probably make me feel a little bit too obsessed with it unhealthily. I don't know, I'm probably pretty obsessed with it as it is, some would argue. But I would call it a passion at the moment, and I like it staying that way in that category. If you listen to the audiobook from the other day, which is called, I think it's called Confessions of a Humorist, that I uploaded onto the channel, that is pretty much how it feels. So, if I made it into something else, would I feel the same way about it? I probably would still love it. I don't know how much I'd love it, but I would still love it. All right, A Dead Secret by Lafcadio Hearn is now uploaded onto the channel. If you've liked listening to me just ranting along, chuck a like. I'm low-key going to say it would be lovely if you would subscribe, but at the same time, no pressure at all. We've had another 3 chapters of Hardy Boys recorded tonight, and as well as that, we've also had one whole 7-minute audiobook recorded from Lafcadio Hearn's anthology of ghost stories called Kwaidan. Strange and why can I never remember the name of this book? Strange Stories and Studies of Strange Things, published in 1904. All right. Okay, guys, have a lovely day, night, evening. Boys, remember this entire channel is for you at the end of the day, just to come and hang out with me on the stream whenever you need to, /want to. Chuck it on in the background while you're in the shed, on the road, traveling, at work, doing nothing, laying in bed, sitting in a chair, looking at the sunset. We've looked at a fair few sunsets together. We've watched a few out our window, haven't we? Over the mountains in the distance. And some of the best days of my life. All right. Love you, boys. So much. So much.